Oh, Dauntless, the free-to-play version of Monster Hunter. And should you even be worried about this game in 2022? Is it worth playing? Let's kind of dig in and see what I think. And yes, there is a lot of fighting of oversized gerbils in this game, which makes it intriguing. Game wastes absolutely no time explaining to you exactly where you are in the Shattered Isles and how Cat has created this world in which you are able to go out and hunt these creatures down. And it starts to quickly give you an idea of what the goal is in the game.
For slayers. Now, let's see what kind of slayer you are.
So I just wanted to step in and talk about the first interesting part of the game. The context and the conversations that you have with characters in this game are kind of bland, in my opinion, but they did put a lot of focus and it's a lot of fun in the way combat works. So, based on what item you have as your weapon, you're gonna get different types of abilities. And I appreciate this part quite a bit, and I think it's one of the most appealing parts of Dauntless. So, I really like fist weapons. Punching enemies in the face with my fist I think it's a lot of fun. So typically, if there's an option, I'm gonna choose the fisticuffs, and I'm gonna go to punching people in the face. Now, with that said, I was wondering right out the gate, like, are there weapons that are more effective in general, or is everything balanced out? I don't have an answer yet, because I haven't got far enough in the game to see if fisties are better than spears or swords. However, I can say one thing about this game is the combat system is pretty cool. However, I did notice that some of the weapons just didn't seem as fun or as interesting as other ones. With these little twin blade looking thingies, I don't know, they felt slow. They didn't feel really fun. There's some cool abilities that you get out of it, but it just didn't seem like it was a fun weapon to use. I later found the spear and was falling in love with the spear. Even though I like punching enemies in the face, the spear just felt like it actually did damage and was more aesthetically pleasing when I was beating down baddies, I guess. But hey, honestly, let's kind of get into the actual gameplay and when you're fighting a real enemy, how exactly everything feels in here. So you basically have a star map, these little islands that you go to, and there's different animals or enemies on each one of these little islands, and that means you can farm them for particular resources. So the first one it's gonna shoot you in is an Embermane. So kind of looks like a decrepit wolf dog rhino thingy, but just understanding how this properly works. It's your first one, your introduction to it all. You see that you have dodging abilities, and it kind of matters. Being able to dodge keeps you from getting hit. As you notice, the enemy looks tired, so when the enemy attacks you relentlessly so many times, they'll get fatigued, which is pretty cool in my opinion. It kind of adds a little realism in the realist way of a sci-fi game, as to say. So while he's fatigued, you're actually able to go in and deal some substantial damage and whatnot. I'm not sure why he's dizzy. I didn't really do anything special, but he's very confused and dizzy. There's some stars there. He wasn't any slower. He wasn't any slower at all. I just couldn't hit my hits though, But this is part of why the game became so fun. It was kind of seeing the different types of damage you can do, being able to knock the enemy down, seeing how much damage you could deal early in game, and understanding why this is like Monster Hunter to me. By fighting the enemies and hitting them in certain points, you're going to be able to break certain pieces of the enemy and then get those pieces, which will allow you to craft gear, such as chest pieces or boots or gloves, helmets, and other weapons as well. And speaking of which, you don't simply just get to go do stuff. You actually have to level your character up and get so far through the game to unlock skill trees that allow you to craft or to upgrade these items. You also use this screen to unlock additional islands, which will give you additional enemies that you can fight for additional materials that you can use to craft those pieces of gear. All this is under your Slayer's Path, which is probably the most important part about leveling up is going up through your Slayer's path so you can understand more of what you can unlock.
Good to see.
So early on, you'll be able to start crafting pieces of gear, whether it be, swords and axes. And I think the one thing that kind of caught me off guard is you have to pay attention because not every armor or weaponsmith can create those items that you're looking for. So I was looking for gauntlets, but I didn't quite realize at the time that there's a particular person that you have to go speak to in order to craft those items, which meant, I had to settle for what I had right now, which I decided to make a spear. The spears are actually really cool. I like the combat flow of the spears anyway. So, it wasn't a terrible thing. And I actually ended up getting hooked on the spears and liking how they work. The spears, once you deal so much damage, you can load a rocket into those things, which is pretty badass. And then you get to aim that rocket at your enemy and, make a shot. Yeah, just don't be like me and miss. Because, that just makes you look bad. Anyway, it made the weapon really cool because, you go in, you do your damage right up close, and you can turn around and fire rockets from afar. Made the weapon really interesting and cool and intriguing as well. Should you be playing Dauntless in 2022? Honestly, as a new player, I think you should. I think it's a great idea to jump into this game and play it now because you've got loads of content you get to experience. They've added a prestige system, they've got more waves with harder enemies, so you have something to strive and push through. But I know I've heard the community who have been playing this game for a long time have been a little upset with the type of content that's been released, as most of the content released has been more focused on the top 3% of players who are just extremely good at it and are able to just beat the crap out of the game because they know how. So casuals tend to lose gas in the game, but it being free to play means, hey, it's a great option for you to spend some time on. Maybe you'll fall in love with it and be part of that top 3%. Overall, the game is fun, it's engaging, it's intriguing, and you have a lot to do as a new player. It just depends on how serious you want to be at the end of the day. Dauntless, go download it, go play it. I think it's worth it.